I think how I have found success in my business is just the word consistency. Entrepreneurship can really be a roller coaster of emotions, right? Sometimes business doesn't come as quickly as we would like it to. Your emotions can get in the way of continuing to lead generate and do the things that you need to do every day to build your business.
Hey there, business enthusiasts. Welcome to the Chills Podcast, brought to you by All Weather Roof. Because just like a sturdy roof, our conversations are built to last. I'm your host, Brent Loberg, and we're about to dive into the world of business, family, and the moments that give us those exhilarating chills. Ever wonder what keeps successful people inspired? Well, get ready to find out as we chat with some fantastic all-weather customers, partners, vendors, and friends. We'll explore their triumphs, challenges, and maybe even some unexpected secrets. After all, business is not just about numbers. It's about the people behind them. So grab your metaphorical popcorn and join us on this journey. Get ready to be inspired, maybe even get a few chills of your own. This is the Chills Podcast. Let the goosebumps begin.
I'm Lisa Martin. I am a local realtor. I've been in the business since 2002. So really love what I do and have been working mostly in Hennepin County for the last almost 24 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do people get in touch with you?
How do people get in touch with me? Well, my cell phone number is 763-516-2231, and my email is just lisa@lisamrealtor.com.
Okay.
Yes.
Have you done many podcasts?
This is my first podcast. Yes.
We started, about a year ago, Will? It's been a year?
It's been about a year, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Very good.
We're at like episode 20, so we're fairly new too.
Well, good. Well, hopefully we get through it okay.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So what type of houses do you specialize in, or is it just kind of anything and everything?
Yeah, I traditionally work mostly with single-family homes, oftentimes working with families who are looking either to upsize or downsize. So I really enjoy doing that. But of course, there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there as well. And with them, I love the education piece of it, helping them to really understand the process and what it really takes to buy a home in today's environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw on your website, and it said, I introduce people to houses until they find the one they love.
Yes.
I like that. Is that kind of like your brand?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's kind of I would say a matchmaking kind of a thing where for me, I'm not as necessarily focused on the house, but I'm focused on the relationship that I'm building. Because of the experience that I have, people grow to really trust me. And oftentimes I can identify their house that they're going to pick before they even do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you started in 2002.
Yeah.
How has technology kind of changed the way people look for?
Right. 100% change. It used to be that we didn't necessarily have all the internet listings and that type of thing. So it would be that I was identifying properties for them. Now, with all the major platforms being able to take the MLS data and bring it into platforms like Zillow and Realtor.com and even agent websites, a lot of times now the homeowner will, or the potential homeowner will identify properties. And a lot of times I'm the person just setting up the showing. So really, I think where my value comes in is identifying issues that might be in the home itself. So I always say, you go ahead and look at the sexy, I'll be looking at the rest. So looking at windows and roof and, plumbing, electrical, that type of thing. They're looking at the paint colors, the open floor plan, that type of thing. So my value comes in showings is looking, at those types of things, the mechanicals and the age of furnace and roof and that type of thing. And then we work together to decide whether it's the one for them. Then having the experience that I have, a lot of times it comes down to writing the contract in the right way. So over the number of years that I've been doing it, I've been able to identify terms and strategies that will work even in a competitive environment, because we have been in kind of a competitive environment, meaning that there's multiple people bidding and offering for the same property. So, based on experience, I know what works and what doesn't to write an offer that's appealing to the seller, so that we can get that house that they love.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when someone's looking for a real estate agent, how do you separate yourself from the competition?
Yeah, the unique value proposition, I guess. I guess a lot of times first I direct them to the experience that I've had. I've not only been a real estate salesperson, but I've been a managing broker at 3 different brokerages. I've owned my own brokerage. I train other real estate agents. So that's part of it is just the experience and the going over and above in the learning phase of it. I have lots of designations and certifications that don't necessarily mean anything to the potential buyer or seller, but it helps to lend credibility. So it's experience, it's negotiation, prowess. That's not the right word, but that type of thing. Knowing the process and just knowing how to get it done. But I think the biggest thing is that I'm able to gain trust pretty quickly. So just understanding what people want, becoming a trustworthy partner and advocate, I think what sets me apart.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how about when you're dealing with a buyer and there's another realtor dealing with the buyer and you're coming together? How do you separate yourself in that situation?
Communication.
Okay.
It's really, you're sort of a star in the real estate market if you actually pick up your phone and talk to somebody. A lot of realtors have gotten away from, we get so many spam calls, right? Somebody trying to sell us something that oftentimes we don't pick up the phone. But you can actually differentiate yourself by that simple thing of picking up the phone and just communicating with the other side. It does make, and it's a really good point that you make, it makes a difference to actually talk to the cooperating agent, let them know about your client, let them know their qualifications and why your buyer or even seller is the best person to secure that home.
So you're selling the buyer.
Exactly.
I like that.
Exactly.
Because a lot of people, like when we moved into our house, the people that were selling it, they really liked these trees in the backyard.
Yeah.
And they said, one of the people that were coming to buy the house, they said they were going to take the trees down and put a pool in.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we go.
Right. Yeah. It does make a difference. You have to understand the other side's motivation, and then you play to that. So you ask questions. If I'm representing a buyer and I'm talking to the other agent, well, what's the seller's ideal timeline? Anything you can share with me about what's important to the seller? Those types of things that helps it. You can craft an offer better to better position your buyer. Yeah.
So tell me a funny story within your industry or your work over the years that you like sharing with people. Interesting, funny.
Well, an interesting story is maybe not funny, but kind of going back to the foreclosure crisis, which kind of happened in 08, 09, and 10. I was representing a bank who had these properties, unfortunately, that they had to foreclose on because the homeowner wasn't making their payments. So one of the properties I went to, when the homeowner left, they turned on all of the water. And it was in January on a day like today where it's -10. So the property itself had flooded so much that water was coming out the windows. When I drove up to that property, there was literally like a skating rink or water just frozen outside of that house. So that house was basically damaged and probably had to be taken to the ground, to the land, and rebuilt. So it was a crazy experience just driving up to that and seeing frozen water coming out of windows.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. And I mean, people were angry that the bank was foreclosing, but they also didn't make their payments. So I know banks typically try to work with people before they take that last step, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way.
Got it.
Yeah.
So can you share with the audience any advice for like entrepreneurship, like when you had your business and your own brokerage?
Right. So I think even though I don't own my brokerage right now, I still really run my own business, right, underneath the umbrella of the brokerage. So I think how I have found success in my business is just the word consistency. So, with businesses, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business, right? So every single day, we have to be consistently out there looking for potential clients for our business. And sometimes that's hard. Entrepreneurship can really be a roller coaster of emotions, right? So whether you're a big company like your company or whether you're a smaller company, sometimes business doesn't come as quickly as we would like it to.
For sure.
And so your emotions can get in the way of continuing to lead generate and do the things that you need to do every day to build your business. So I think with entrepreneurship, it's really just doing the task. It's time on the task over time. So whatever that task is that helps you to build your business and find clients. Finding clients is probably the most important thing that we have to do, whether we're a big business or a small business, because like I say, if you don't have clients, you don't have a business. So dedicating time every day to finding clients and building the business is the consistent thing that you need to do in order to have a business. Yeah.
Yeah, we call it hero to zero.
Hero zero?
December 31st, you've done a great job. No Jan 1 coming.
Right.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I gotta do it all over.
Yeah, exactly. You're always doing it over again. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the name of the podcast is called The Chills.
Okay.
So what in your business gives you those feel-good moments?
Okay. I had looked at a few of your other podcasts and I heard you use the word goosebump. And it's really funny that you use that because when I'm talking with a buyer, I always say, I'm going to have a goosebump moment. And that goosebump moment is really when I know that this is their property before they do. I have a physical reaction.
Really?
And I get goosebumps because if I know the client well enough and I really understand them, and we've been together for a while looking at a number of different properties, I will get goosebumps. And most times that's the property that they choose.
Before you even show it to them?
Well, when we walk in the door, I should say when we walk in the door, we get in there and I've spent maybe 5 seconds in the property. I'm like, yep, this is the one. And I have goosebumps. Yeah, so I have a physical reaction. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So let's stick on that. So you must spend a lot of time getting to know the customer.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And you're listening to what they want. And
I get to know, sometimes parents are involved. There's kids sometimes. And so for me, it's really about developing a really deep relationship with them. I don't want to be their realtor for that one transaction. I want to be their realtor for life. And so I really get to know them and know what they're looking for and really understand that so that when we walk in that house, it doesn't happen every time, but it happens a lot where I have that goosebump physical reaction.
Oh, I bet that gives you a lot of repeat business.
Yes, absolutely. Because I know it before they do oftentimes.
That intuition. That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you kind of call it out too, or do you kind of just let it happen?
No, I let it happen because it sounds kind of woo-woo, right? Or you're like, yeah, right, you get goosebumps. So, but I kind of keep it to myself. I have that physical reaction and I know. And oftentimes they'll say, let's write an offer. They know that that's the one. And I'm like, yeah, goosebump moment.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's pretty fun.
Huh.
Yeah.
Anything cool going on with your family right now? I'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah. So I have, second marriage. My husband has 4 kids. I have 2 kids. And then together we have 9 grandchildren. So we just had little Holly this year was our latest grandchild in May of 2024. So that's been kind of fun. And just spending time with them at their sports events and all of that. It's really, really fun to be a grandparent. Sure. I love the kids themselves, but it's also fun to see my kid be a parent, right? I didn't anticipate that becoming a grandma, that I would really enjoy that. But watching my kid be a parent has been really fun, and seeing some of what I've done carry through in his parenting as well.
Sure. See, I warmed off a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of dog is Penny?
Penny is a Cavachon. She is a Cavalier King Charles Bichon mix. She is, I call her a Velcro dog because she's always, when I'm home, she's stuck to me. She follows me everywhere I go. If I don't want her to follow me, I'll say, I'll be right back. So she waits until I come back. So she's our fur baby. My husband and I didn't have children together, so she's our fur baby.
How big of a dog is it?
She's about 25 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have any dog, but my wife is interested in these Cavalier poodles.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. Cavalier, that's kind of part of what Penny is. And then a poodle, if it's a miniature poodle, probably makes it a little smaller.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure they're really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what kind of personality does Penny have?
She is crazy. We really spoil her, so she sits with us at the dinner table. So most people would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's really stupid." But she's happy, cheerful. She's so loyal. She's wonderful. So yeah.
Anything else within your business or anything going on that you'd like to share with the audience?
The market is interesting with interest rates being a little bit higher. People see them as being higher, but traditionally, as we go back into the 70s, we're at, just over 7% right now. And that's been the historical average since the 1970s. So it's not that interest rates are high. We just got really used to them being super low. So, we're at a little bit of a log jam because sellers typically have 4% or 5% interest rates. So they're hesitant to let go of their home to, trade it for a 7% interest rate. And then buyers have some unrealistic expectations that they're going to come down to 5 or 5.5%. Probably not going to happen. So we're just kind of adjusting to what the new normal is. Inventory is still low, meaning it's still a seller's market, but the right realtor and the right property, it's still doable.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So bonus question before we go.
Okay.
So you were a financial advisor.
I was.
And now you're a realtor.
Yes.
So a lot of the financial people I listen to, and there's always this, do you pay your mortgage off or do you invest?
Right.
What's your
right. Kind of depends on the interest rate, right? So we were lucky to have an interest rate just under 3%. We're at like 2 7/8. So it doesn't make any sense for us to pay off our mortgage. I mean, if you end up getting one at 7%, it might be something you consider, because then once it's paid off, then you have all of the freedom and flexibility to do what you're going to do with that money that you would have been paying on your mortgage. So you can invest it. Real estate investing is still a good thing too. Historically, properties have appreciated 3 to 4 to 5%. We had a period of time in the last 3 or 4 years where they were at 12, 13%, not sustainable, just like the stock market isn't sustainable. When it gets super high, it always corrects itself. So,
yeah.
Well,
Dave Ramsey always said that the grass feels better under your feet when your house is paid off.
Right. Yeah. Let's hear the interest. Absolutely. Yeah. Everybody's got their opinion for sure. So, yeah.
Well, this was fun.
Yes. Thank you. I survived my first podcast.
Thanks for coming on, Lisa.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
And especially on this cold day.
You bet.
And that's a wrap, folks. A huge thank you to our incredible guests and, of course, All Weather Roof for making this podcast possible. If you enjoyed these conversations as much as we did, don't forget to hit subscribe and share the chills with your fellow business aficionados. Remember, it's not just about business, it's personal, and it's all about the people. Stay inspired, chase those dreams, and let the chills guide you. Till next time, this is Brent, signing off from the Chills Podcast. Catch you on the flip side.